Okay, we're going.
Good morning. It is Monday, so you know what that means. Meet me at the sewing machine. We're doing schoolgirl sampler blocks, and these are the blocks we're going to do today. Really fun. It is blocks 50. We're in the 50s. 55 and 56. Squares within squares. Okay? And then down here is the friendship star, and I can't wait to show you the friendship star because it's going to be a fun one to do. So we're going to start with the friendship star because we have to do half square triangles. Now we've done them before. You know, they come out looking like this. You need 2 pieces of fabric, light and a dark. Now she used a brown for her background. I kind of used this dark burgundy. Isn't that pretty? I really like that. For this block I used out of my Kim Deal's chocolate covered cherry collection. And we still have some of that. So if you want some of that, we've got some.
Yeah.
But I went ahead and sewed on the diagonal, you know, a quarter inch away from the points. And now I'm going to cut. I'm going to use my rotary cutter. I could use my scissors, but I'm going to have my rotary cutter in my hand anyway. So, and then I'm going to size them. We do this every time. I like to, when you only have to do 1 or 2 half square triangles, 3 or 4, this is the way to do it. If you're going to do 500, you might want to get out the papers.
Or find a friend.
Or find a friend to help you make them. Definitely. And then I'm going to clip off. We decided to start calling these corn kernels. We're going to clip off the corn kernels. And we didn't want to cut anybody's ears. We didn't want to cut bunny ears. We didn't want to cut dog ears. So we're going to call them corn kernels because you do cut corn kernels off the cob. So let's go ahead and cut those off. And just like that, lickety split, you've got 2 more half square triangles for a total of 4. And that's what we need for our friendship star is 4 half square triangles. Got out my handy clapper. You know about our clappers. We have them in 2 sizes. This is the small size. I like to keep one right at my sewing table so I don't have to get up when I'm just opening seams on small pieces. So I have my big one is over at my big ironing station. And I use it for when I'm doing seams or big blocks. And this one I just use here right at my sewing table. Here at Meet Me at the Sewing Machine. So let's look at this. We've got 4 half square triangles. Now usually when we have 4 half square triangles, we kind of make a pinwheel. This is going to be a challenge because I don't have a pinwheel in front of me.
I have a hard time figuring out a pinwheel, and I know
There it is.
But it is.
There it is. Okay. So usually we have a pinwheel when we do 4 half square triangles. But this time for a friendship star, we're going to put a square in the middle, and then we're going to put these around the square, paying attention now to our book and the angles that they go. And then it makes a little friendship star, it's called. These are fun blocks to make if you want to do an exchange with friends.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to make them this little, of course. Any size that you make the half square triangle, you just cut these squares to size, the same size as those. So, you know, this is my friend Peg Peter. Hi, Peg! This is her favorite block. She told me that once. Unless she was lying to me, this is her favorite block. But I don't think she makes them this little. But this is fun, and it just becomes a 9 patch after you've got your half square triangles made. So let's start sewing those together in rows. And you want to be real careful. if you need to pin that, I'm just going to feel it so that it's such a small piece. If it were a bigger piece, I would pin it. But since it's such a small piece, I'm not going to pin it. And I'm just going to lay that right on top, just as it comes off of my row there. Cappy's filming today. Peter has done something to his shoulder. I don't know if it's the one he broke last year, or if it's something different. That boy's got to stay off of them horses. That's all there is to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and start on my other block, which is the square within squares. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two squares and I'm just going to sew them together. And it doesn't matter which one goes on top or what side. You can turn them around up or down. And I'm just going to do that so I can get these out of my sewing machine. And then see how convenient it is just to have my clapper right here and my little bitty travel iron. If you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe, that's really nice, because then you'll get little I was going to say warnings that I'm on. Little reminders when we, it's not a warning. But little reminders of when we come on to the station.
We need that like wah, wah, warning.
Yeah.
No, it's good. There's lots of good information here.
And so, and then just sew these rows together. After you sew the first two together, you'll go back and sew the third one on. You're going to pay attention to your angles. That's the trickiest part of this block, are those angles, keeping those going the correct way. So make sure that you put it back together before you start sewing, because I can't tell you how many times that angle gets switch-awaited around, and then that's a new word for me, switch-awaited.
I feel sure that's in Webster's Dictionary.
I think that is. If not, it should be.
It should be. I like it. It's a good word.
Do they even still make dictionaries, do you think, Cappy?
Hard one, I suppose, hardcovers.
There's
still libraries. There's still buildings. So.
Do you know that there used to be people go around sell collections of encyclopedias, and then you got a free dictionary?
Well, now when I was growing up, we had Encyclopedia Britannica. And we had the whole collection.
Right. So did it come with a Webster's Dictionary?
Well, I don't remember, because I never got to the dictionary.
I bet it did.
But I was one of those nerdy kids that would sit on the floor in the room where the books were and read Encyclopedia Britannica. Now, how fun was I?
Well, we used to, at dinner time, when I was an adult, and we live right across the street from my mom and dad. When my mom was alive, we'd have dinners together, and we'd get out the encyclopedia, and we would one person would look up something random.
Oh, yeah.
And then see if somebody knew what that was.
That's fun.
And then, or we would say, okay, what's the difference between jelly, jam, and preserves?
Yeah.
What's the difference? So we'd look it up, see? Yeah. And so, before the internet.
Before Google.
You can't just take a dictionary and go, hey, dictionary, hey, encyclopedia.
Yeah.
You can't do that like you can today. So it was fun to look things up and, find out different things. And
I think in some ways we were smarter because we had to work harder to get the information.
Yeah,
but
so we
didn't have as
more.
much information. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's complicated, I guess, how it works. But yeah, I loved. I knew the weirdest, most random step. Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
I got you, man.
You're a champ, huh?
I can beat you because I know the
How about Jeopardy? Are you good at Jeopardy?
Yeah, pretty good at Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because it's dumb, random stuff that serves no purpose in life. Got it. I got that information.
Right. Okay, so now look at how easy that was. So I'm going to sew this one together.
And I bet you're going to pin it.
I am. She knows that because she's been here before. And I wanted to show you, I only have a point on one side. I don't have a point on this side. So really all I have to match up is the seam. And the same on the other side, just matching up the seam.
Now, which side do you sew from, or do you care? I mean, do you sew from the top? Do you sew from that side, or will you flip it over and sew from the other side?
Oh,
you've
no,
got a
I'll
point
sew
on
on
either
this
side.
side.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll sew on this side. Yeah, guys, I got a flat edge. There's really no point.
Right, yeah. I think that's one of the things I struggle with. It's like, okay, well, now, which side has the most points I got to keep track of? I'm going to try and sew on that side so I can watch them.
Yeah.
But
see, there's the same amount on this side.
Right, yeah. And that's what's like,
seams.
so it doesn't matter which side you pick. They're both...
So now to get this out of my machine, I'm going to come over here. I sewed the 2 squares together. Now I'm going to sew these 2 rectangles together. And it doesn't really matter, again, which one's on top. You can flip them back and forth. But these don't get sewn this way. They get sewn the short way. Okay? So I'm going to put that on. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm using my second block as my leaders and enders while I'm making my first block.
No potato chips out of this one, huh?
Right.
But 2 blocks done. That's not bad.
Yeah, until you get to the end. You could use them then when both blocks are getting nearly done. But, yeah. I made several potato chip blocks this weekend.
Oh, did ya?
Got my big project done. It's off in the UPS as soon as he gets here. So, look, and this is what you want. You want these nice crispy points. And then you're going to make sure that you have a 1/4 inch there. Now, because I have already sized these up and they fit on these, I know this is going to be square. Right. Okay, so I don't have to square this unit up once I get it sewn, unless I've sewn it real wonky. And then I might have to square it up. But if you square it up, you've got to be very careful not to cut into your points. Okay, that's the risk you take. So you want to make sure that you're sewing it correctly so that you don't have that issue. And who wouldn't want to make, you know, thousands of these to make a queen size quilt this size?
You know what I've loved about this project is that every block's different.
Yeah, that's what I love.
If I had to make 1,000 of one block, I think I would just...
Would you go insane?
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
I did 240 square in a square in a square, and they were only 4.5 inches finished. It was crazy.
Okay, let me say this. The quilts are stunning when they're done that way. They're
absolutely
breathtaking.
Uh-huh.
But there's not enough rusty razor blades for me to do those.
Yeah.
I'm not in that place.
It was like a little bit of insanity because square in a square in a square is not my favorite one. And then you add another square, it's definitely not my favorite one. But made it. It is beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's a Christmas quilt for Moda. It's a program. We'll see it
eventually, won't we?
Yeah, it's going to be a program that they're going to debut, I think, in December, Christmas time. So there's my little friendship star, and it's so sweet. And again, let me tell you that if you want to change the size of these, all you have to do is make your half square triangles, and then whatever size you determine those are, that's when you cut your 4 corners and your middle square, and you can make these any size you want. You know, they'll come out any size you want. So for this instance, she couldn't, without getting really crazy with the measurements, she couldn't make this 4.5 with this to come out like this. So what she did was she just bordered it. Okay? So that's a fun way. And of course, this is a weird colored border to put on this, but this is my background fabric for my whole quilt. So yes, as a single block, this is going to look weird, okay? But as a block that's going to fit in with other blocks, it's going to move right in. Now, this is what Cappy was talking about earlier. She's what side are you going to sew on? And this is what she meant by that. See how this one doesn't have any seams, but this side has seams? So she would probably want to sew like that.
Yep. I'm gonna
So
sew.
that she could watch her seams, and then she wouldn't have to pin, but I'm going to pin sew. But I could still sew on this side.
I might pin and still watch because
Yeah.
it takes that much for me to get it.
Okay. Well, it is tiny. It is tedious. It's a tedious little block. And, you know, less room for, less wiggle room for making sewing mistakes. So,
I've started sewing another one of the block of the months we're going to start in January, and it's bigger. You know, they're 9.5, 12-inch blocks.
yeah.
They feel like they've got Jolly Green Giant compared to these little peas.
Monsters after you've been sewing these.
Oh my gosh, it makes such a difference.
It does make a difference. And you know, I don't do a lot of big quilts except for when I'm sewing on commission. And wrestling those things around, I'm used to little bitty. And I'm telling you what, you got to have some muscles to do those quilts.
Yeah. These feel like M&Ms, and those others feel like beach balls.
Yeah,
It's like, good grief.
It's crazy. So I'm on to my other block because I need something to get that out of my machine with. So I'm pressing open the squares and rectangles that I've previously sewn. And I'm going to have to make more blocks out of this chocolate and covered cherries because that's the only one I've done for the whole quilt. So I've got to use that fabric for other different blocks. But I decided to go ahead and make this one kind of like the book. So I've chosen this directional fabric for my center. It could either go that way or this way, but it's probably not going to look good going that way. So I think I'll have that going that way. And so I'm going to sew, and I'm just paying attention to my picture here. It's got the orange to the top on this side, so. And here is an instance where I don't have to pin because I'm sewing on a big piece, and I can watch this. So that's kind of what, again, what Cappy was talking about earlier. If there were a seam on the other side that my feed dogs were going to bump up against, I would pin. Okay. So there's that piece, and I'm going to sew this piece on the other side. And I'm going to be brave, and I'm just going to pin it and sew it on this side because that's the way I would do it at home. And that's come up a little bit short, but it'll ease into the seam allowance. So I'm not going to worry about it. And if you were brave and did it on the other side, you might not have to pin. But since I'm a pinner and it doesn't bother me to pin, then I will just go ahead and do that. I'm going to get my other block out and I'm going to sew on. Now it'll be on this side, so the orange will be opposite. See that when you sew it on, the orange is to the top here, it's to the bottom on this side. When you put it through your machine, it'll be on the top though. So for this one, I'm not going to pin. If you feel like you need to pin, go ahead. Such a small piece that I feel like I can manipulate it with my fingers. I'm going to go ahead and press this one open. So, you know, this is not anything we haven't done before except for that fun friendship star. You know, you take a pinwheel. You put a center in the pinwheel and it becomes a friendship star. The angles are a little bit different. But I think that's fun. I think that's a fun way to use some half square triangles kind of to get a different look. So there's that. Pretty.
Mm-hmm. I actually like the gray with it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. So now we're going to do the other side. And what's so funny is how many pins I have to put in this.
Those strips are long enough. Yeah, they do. It's.
Well, you've got a seam there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a seam here. And the reason I'm pinning is because I don't want my feed dogs to make it go like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want it to... pin that. And I'm a little short. I don't know why I'm a little short. This must be, my 1/4 inch must be a little bit bigger on this one than what I normally sew. I'm going to make sure I take my pins out. Don't run over. Oh, I ran over a pin this week with my sewing machine at home. But luckily it was one of my favorite pins and it just moved aside.
Good.
It didn't hurt it.
Yeah, our service tech, Jeff, when he hears about people sewing over pins,
Cringes.
he just cringes.
Yeah.
The hair stands up on his neck and he just shivers. It's like, oh.
Well, he should look at it as job security.
Well,
is what he should do.
I don't think he wants it that bad.
Oh.
I think he's okay with, he would rather you have a
Good
well-running
working
machine.
machine.
Yeah.
That reminds me, today after class, and if it's been a while for you, you need to do this. I'm going to clean this machine. I haven't cleaned it in a while. So today after class is over, I'm going to go ahead and take this machine down to the bare bones, and I'm going to get it cleaned out.
A clean machine works great.
Yeah.
It's part of what having good tools.
Yeah.
I always tell people, if you never change the oil in your car ever in your lifetime, think how it would run.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people do that with their sewing machines. It's like, oh, you can lift that foot plate up and clean under it.
So when you put these on, you want to make sure that see, it'd be a whole different block if I did that. See that? It'd be a whole different look altogether. So I'm going to do that.
What's our UPS man delivering back there? I can hear him.
Yeah, I hope he takes my package.
I hope he...
Did you get my package, Mr. UPS man? Thank you. I have your receipt. Thank you. Okay, now see, I don't have to pin that one because I can visually see it. So I'm going to go ahead and not put a pin there.
He's bringing stuff and dropping off stuff and taking stuff.
We get new stuff pretty much every day.
Oh my gosh, do we ever? Can't keep up with it.
It's hard. Nancy was off a couple days last week. She was off all week.
Yeah, that was...
She does our inventory, so Lanine and Cappy had to pitch in.
So when the stuff on the website comes up wackadoo, that's why, because we're not as good at it.
Now I have to go without Chloe kisses today.
What?
Yeah.
Where's Chloe?
Chloe's mommy, her real mommy. I'm Chloe's aunt.
Her biological mommy.
Yeah, I'm her aunt, but her real mommy got up with a sick stomach this morning. So Chloe is home taking care of mommy. And so I didn't get my Chloe kisses today.
Aww.
So probably what I'll do is I will stop by on the way home. Look at how short I am. I don't know why that is. So what I'm going to do, since I don't have my fabric here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the difference. Okay? Just have it a little short on that end. When I sew it in, it'll be fine. Something's up with my 1/4 inch foot. I'm not used to. So see how I just split the difference? I got a little short on that end, a little short on this end. If I were actually at home, see, that's right at 4.5. Well, it could be a little bit bigger. It's a little tiny bit bigger. I could shave some of that off, to tell you the truth, because it's too big. So I may do that later. But after I get this sewn on, then I can size it up and see what
And
I've
that
got.
border allows that opportunity in a way that it wouldn't usually.
Yes, yes. You know, sometimes you do a block exchange with your friends, and not everybody's 1/4 inch is the same. I mean, you would think a 1/4 inch is a 1/4 inch. Hello, but everybody interprets it different, and so their blocks don't all come. Let's say, for instance, you're swapping 6.5 inch blocks. And everybody's supposed to have their blocks, and they're all pieced, and they're beautiful. But some are 6 3/4. Some are 5.5. You know, some are really different. A good way to use those in a quilt is to frame each one and then determine what size you want and cut them down from the border, because your eye is not going to perceive if a border should be about 1/4 inch off. Okay, so if you border all the blocks and oversize the border, that way when you go, let's say they're supposed to be 6.5, they don't size up to 6.5, you put an 1.5 inch border all the way around, so now you've got 8.5, because you've got an, you know, on two sides, 8.5, and you could size them all down to 8. You see, and then you would have all standard blocks.
Right. We did a quilt here in the store one time. We had all the staff make a block, which sounded like a great idea to make it all, you know, easy and all that. But then I had the opportunity to put them all together.
Yeah.
And as much as we love our staff, I really didn't love them much when I had 24
now see, this
blocks.
end fits. Oh, it wasn't this one.
Was the
Never
other
mind.
one.
The other block. Never mind.
But yeah, when I had 24 blocks that were from 24 people, I didn't want to do that ever again.
Yeah. Because it, you know, we all do not sew alike.
Nope.
And most of the time, my blocks would go with my blocks because they would all end up the same. But my blocks might not go with Cappy's blocks, and Cappy's blocks might not go with my blocks, and so on and so forth.
Well, okay, let's just take that a step further. Your lovely reproduction fabrics with my lovely bright color, that'd be a whole nother problem.
That'd be a little bit of a wackadoo kind of.
It would definitely be a crazy quilt, right?
Yeah, it would. It would. Now we're going to see what happened here. We're going to see just what happened. I'm going to get my block out. I'm going to get my cutting board out. I'm going to get my block here. And this is why we talk about squaring up. Get that little thread out of there. I always groom my blocks. That's what I call it when I do that. Groom my blocks. Now here's my ruler, and this is supposed to finish 4.5. And look, it is oversized. It is oversized.
Mine was too, and I thought maybe it was just my sewing, but.
So I don't know if she allowed that. That's the reason that she allowed this or what. But I'm going to put that on there like that. And I don't have to worry about any points, you see. And this is the same way you would do it if you had a big block. Now, see, I got a little bit off of there.
It's just a shave, but boy, it's enough to mess it up.
And then I'm going to turn it over here, and I'm going to put that right at 4.5 down here. 4.5, 4.5. Making sure I've got some vertical lines here. Horizontal lines here. I can look and see if it's straight with my seam. And there we go. And that's quite a bit. Look at that. That's quite a bit.
Quite a shave.
But see, my eye's
good.
not going to see. When I get this sewn in, it's only going to be a 1/4 of an inch. My eye's not going to see that I took that little sliver off. But now it's a 4.5 inch block. Now, I didn't have that problem with this one. This is the one I sewed at home, and it's 4.5 inches, right dead on. So I don't know what I did, but you know, there we are.
It's cute.
It is cute. And then let's get out our
The other one's almost done, isn't it?
It is done.
It is done.
It is done.
It was done just doing
See how you do that? You do 2 at a time, and then you just rotate back and forth, and then all of a sudden they're both done. And it didn't take very long at all. So, yeah, now on my Kim Deal blocks, I went ahead and made both blocks from the chocolate covered cherries. And that background is from Chocolate Covered Cherries. This
Isn't that
one.
cute?
But I love that, how that looks like little pin tucking. Isn't that really sweet? Kind of looks like you've tucked little beads in there or something.
It does.
And then I just love how that pulls that pink in. So it was kind of reminiscent of her block. She used pink, bubblegum pink. I kind of used lipstick pink. But anyway,
it's a good fall block too.
yeah, isn't that fun? Oh, let's switch these. Oh, no, well, they're all switched out. But isn't that cute? I think these are lots of fun. And we learned something today about, you know, if you need your block sized a different size than what it comes out, you can always put a border. Or if it's not the exact size it's supposed to be, you can put a border and change the size.
Make
so
it work.
make them all go together.
Quilters are flexible.
Yeah, we are flexible. Well, I can't really do a somersault anymore.
Me either. Oh gosh.
Well, I might be able to do that one where you tuck and you roll, but I mean like a cartwheel.
Cartwheel.
Yeah, I'm not doing cartwheels.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that anymore.
Yeah, now my friend Tammy, she used to be a ballet dancer and she can still do the splits, I think.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, she's
ago.
Superwoman. So
Well,
we're not going to compare ourselves to her.
No.
We're just going to compare ourselves to ourselves.
That's right. We're all good.
So anyway, I want you to go ahead and get blocks 55 and 56 up. And because Peter's not filming today, it's not going to be a real fancy video with the music and all that. It's just going to be bare bones. But we didn't want to leave you hanging. So that's why we went ahead and filmed today. And we hope you enjoyed these blocks. We hope you learned something. And we'll see you next Monday. Okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.